My name is Patrick Holford. I'm in my 60s. I got interested in nutrition around the age of 20. I've been studying it for the last 40 or so years. Founded the Institute for Optimum Nutrition in 1984, and then the charity called Food for the Brain Foundation about 15 years ago. So my passion has been optimal health. What's the fullest expression we can have as human beings, and particularly brain function. Back in the 80s, I realized that the big problem was carbohydrates. We were eating too much of them. They send up your insulin, and insulin resistance, insulin sensitivity is associated with diabetes, with heart disease, with cancer, and so on. So I created what's called a low glycemic load diet, which is eating a controlled amount and quality of carbohydrates to keep your blood sugar even. Now, meanwhile, there's been a lot of talk about keto diets. I mean, the Atkins diet, in a way, was the first keto diet, having virtually no carbs, less than 50 grams, which isn't very much at all. I mean, you almost blow it with a piece of bread. And lots of fat, which, of course, for a lot of people is an anathema because they think fat's got calories and it's going to make you fat and all the rest of it. But actually these diets proved to be remarkably effective, not only in weight loss, but also in reversing diabetes, with no apparent increased risk of heart disease. So I started to look into this, and it soon became clear that we have a dual fuel system. That is, our body, our cells can run on either glucose, which is the fastest sugar that we digest everything down into, or something called ketones. And ketones are made in the liver from fat. To make this clearer, some cells, like muscle cells, can run on either glucose or ketones, but they can also, this is muscle cells, run on fatty acids, so they can burn fat itself. But some cells, and neurons particularly, that is brain cells, nerve cells, they can only run on ketones made in the liver from fat or on glucose. And I got particularly interested in experiments that gave brain cells the choice, and they actually preferred ketones. So you can think of, ketones, electricity, and carbohydrates, petrol. So we're hybrid, we have this dual fuel system. So the big question is, why have we got this? And it started to emerge two things. One is that it gives us more survivability, because we can run on different diets, and probably in the summer months we get more carbohydrates, more berries, more veg, more fruit, and so on. And we could probably store the excess carbohydrate as fat, because that's what you do when your sugar goes too high, you store it as fat. And then in the lean winter months, when there's not a lot growing and you run out of carbs, you start to burn your body fat. And by the way, when you're burning your body fat, or when you're fasting, which means you're running on your body fat, you're making ketones. And maybe you would eat, a goat or a sheep or something. So there may be a sort of seasonal effect going on. And then I started to learn that the sort of carbohydrate metabolism is more associated with growth. And what we've got now is, because too many people are eating too many carbs, we have overgrowth. And overgrowth doesn't just mean obesity, which is widespread. That's a joke, obesity is widespread. It also means cancer, which is an overgrowth disease. And we've got to the point now where over 1 in 3 people are having a diagnosis of cancer. It's ridiculous. But then when you fast, and there are lots of stories about amazing recoveries that happen when you fast, you switch on a process of repair, which is called autophagy. It literally means eating yourself. And what happens is these little things called lysosomes whiz around cells, gobbling up all the damaged proteins and the damaged energy factories called mitochondria. And you get a repair process. So growth, repair, growth, repair. And that started to get me thinking about the idea that maybe we don't just have a dual fuel system, but there's some hidden health benefit from switching fuels from time to time. And that's what the whole hybrid diet book explores.